The title's not clickbait. There's something I need to complain about. Shocking, I know. It's not that I want to complain, it's that I have to. I'm being forced to by a powerful spiritual presence that's working me like a puppet. Like this whiny demon inside of me that needs an exorcism, and the only way to get it is through talking about something that's made me a bit perturbed, to say the least. And that is this non-stop attack on everything I love. All of my favorite properties that I grew up with are getting adapted into either movies or TV shows, and all of them are terrible. Jesus Christ, I feel like my brain has been stun-locked thanks to the Halo TV show, something that I dreamed about, wet dreams as a kid, finally making it to reality with the Halo television program, and it was an unforgivable fucking war crime of a production, a damn near violation of the Geneva Convention for how atrocious that show was, and it hasn't stopped there. So often, they are adapting beloved game franchises that I cherish near and dear to my heart, and just turning them into laughably pathetic shows. I swear to God, like, there's more dogshit video game adaptations on streaming services than there is dogshit in downtown Tampa sidewalks. It is absurd how often this is happening now. Now, of course, not all of them are bad, but you can pretty much count all of the good video game adaptations on one hand. It's very rare that they do a great job of it. And then this brings us to the topic of today's video that served as the catalyst, the little spark here for my whining. Peacock has a Twisted Metal TV series that's hitting their platform next month, and they released a new trailer for it today that makes it look like a bit of a stinker, and watching it made me more upset than when I realized my growth plates had closed and I wasn't getting taller than 5'6". Just a trailer that I feel missed the mark in getting people excited for it, because this is a franchise that I fucking love as well as many others, and it just didn't really do it justice, I don't think. Also, looking at the description of it on Peacock here, a post-apocalyptic live-action comedy TV show based on the classic 90s PlayStation combat game, makes me sick. Twisted Metal does have its goofy moments. It has very self-aware silliness and a lot of humor in there, of course. But it's a lot more than just a comedy. This should read like a post-apocalyptic, over-the-top, fucking full-throttle, nuts-to-butts action series with some comedy as well, like dark comedy. Because that's what Twisted Metal is. Like, Jesus Christ, Sweet Tooth, who is in the trailer, we're gonna get to all the trailer stuff in a minute. Sweet Tooth is a fucking psychopath serial killer who has an incredibly dark past and an incredibly dark storyline, as well as many other characters, but Sweet Tooth in particular. In the most recent game, he is a fucking maniac who killed his family, and his daughter was the one person he was unable to kill. So his wish with Calypso and winning the event was that he would be able to get to his daughter so he can finally kill her because it's been bothering him for so long. And it turns out his daughter, after witnessing Sweet Tooth killing the whole family, was so traumatized she killed herself. So when Calypso grants Sweet Tooth's wish, he buries Sweet Tooth in the coffin with his daughter. And that's how it ends, with him struggling to get out after being buried alive because he's a murderous fucking psychopath whose whole mission was just killing people and finally being able to kill the one person that got away. Like, zoinks, Scoob, jumpin' Jehoosaphex. How do you take a storyline like that and then say, that character needs to sing the thong song in our Peacock series? Like, what the fuck? Like, Jeepers Creepers. There is comedy in the games, but they turned Sweet Tooth into a goddamn Saints Row character. The dialogue in the trailer for him is like something you'd see out of Forspoken when she's talking to the Gauntlet. It's embarrassing. Like, god damn it, it's making me upset. I'm fuming. I don't know what Peacock was thinking, and I feel like I need to explain what Peacock even is because it's such a nothing burger of a service. It's a streaming platform that you may have signed up for one time by accident because they advertised one decent show and you forgot to cancel it and don't realize you're paying for it. They have, like, nothing worthwhile on their platform. And I'm not exaggerating either. They really don't have a strong catalog whatsoever. You get more value out of a Farters Anonymous subscription where they deliver fart jars to your door every month as opposed to paying for Peacock. And now they've got this Twisted Metal show here, and from what I'm seeing in the trailers, it's not looking promising. Now again, it's not fully out, so hopefully all of these trailers are just doing it a real big disservice, and it turns into a great show, because I would much prefer it be a good show, because then we might see another game. It's been over a decade since the last Twisted Metal game, so if the show was good and successful, maybe we'd see more from the franchise. That would be great, but I'm not optimistic. Let's talk about the trailer. I can't show you the trailer because I think that's probably frowned upon, so I'm just going to describe it, and I'll show you a couple of screenshots. So the trailer kicks off with Sweet Tooth in a fist fight with a character named John Doe, which I didn't recognize the name of in the description of the trailer, so I had to look it up, and it is a character from the Twisted Metal franchise. These two are locked in some high-quality fisticuffs action. John Doe plants a mean one right on the cheek of Sweet Tooth, really socks him, clobbers him. But Sweet Tooth, being the menacing madman he is, isn't affected by it at all and says, "Aren't you a tall glass of water? Me? I'm a Hawaiian punch," and then punches him. That is some cringy shit. I imagine they wrote that trying to be like self-aware, tongue-in-cheek or something, but it's just fucking cringe. I'm about to go on a tangent rant here. What is happening to comedy writing? It's all the same formulaic garbage throwaway shit lines. It feels like it's all AI generated by ChatGPT based on the worst Tumblr scripts you've ever read in your life. I feel like it's only been snowballing out of control. Like it started with things like Saints Row, and it's only been getting worse and worse and worse. You know, then you got Redfall, Dead Island 2 writing, like, and now it's like infiltrated TV as well. Even though I feel like television humor writing's probably been stagnant and bad for quite some time now, but it just feels like it's so derivative of the same horrible throwaway comedy writing in games that's been prevalent over the last year or so, and it's just making it worse. But anyway, that's kind of the entire tone here. So if it's a comedy series and that's the level of humor, then it's dead on arrival in that genre as well. But why even take Twisted Metal and bank entirely on comedy? Twisted Metal is all about the car combat. Like, that is what Twisted Metal made its bread... That was its bread and butter. That's what it made its money on. The fun gameplay and the fun, unique characters of it. There were, of course, moments outside of the cars, and this could very well be like a very, rare instance of that in the show. But why use that as your official sneak peek? Why wouldn't you highlight the car combat? There's a line in the trailer that John Doe says where he says, "Can we go back to the cars?" And I feel like he's voicing the audience's, mind very well. He's voicing all of the audience thoughts. Can we go back to the cars? Let's see the car combat that people would expect with Twisted Metal as the name of the show, instead of this fucking lazy-ass comedy. But they don't go to the cars. Instead, the fist fighting continues. Eventually, Sweet Tooth throws John Doe up against the slot machine, and they start singing the thong song. They do a little duet thong song and then bond over it. And, then the scene ends by John Doe saying, he's ready to go to Sweet Tooth's show. I don't get how this trend is continuing of taking a beloved franchise, buying the rights to it, and then delivering something that has absolutely nothing to do with the property that you're using the name of. We already saw it with Halo, where the producers proudly talked about how they didn't even play the games and wanted nothing to do with the actual established Halo games or universe, so they gave something that nobody liked. Or we also saw it with The Witcher Blood Origin, for another quick example, where they take The Witcher and deliver something that has fucking nothing to do with The Witcher or anything established there. It just doesn't make sense. Maybe it works for a couple of cheap clicks for those curious fans of the property to see if this is going to be something worthwhile, but then they abandon it after episode 1 when it's clear that this is not made by fans of the property. I just don't get who the audience is. It's not for fans of Halo, Witcher Blood Origin, or in this case, it's looking like Twisted Metal either, and the shows are never good enough to stand on their own two legs either. They just use the property, the IP, as a crutch for really lazy throwaway garbage. You don't win. Everyone loses. You don't accomplish anything. I just don't fucking understand it. I'm really hoping that Twisted Metal ends up being surprisingly good, and that this was just a really bad marketing idea to show just a comedy scene from it, as opposed to showcasing an action scene or really any scene with the vehicles. They do have one other trailer, but it's a very quick teaser and doesn't show much of anything at all. So that one's not anything that I'm going to heavily critique. It's just supposed to be a teaser, so I don't think that one's necessarily bad. But this one is. This is over 2 minutes. It is a sneak peek, and it's supposed to sell people on the hype of the show. But I just don't see how it would. I don't think fans of Twisted Metal are going to be pumping their fists yeah, Sweet Tooth said Hawaiian Punch and then really gave him a wallop. Woo! I don't see that happening. I feel like most people would rather have seen a sneak peek of the vehicle combat that Twisted Metal is known for. And it would be unique for a show. That would be hype for people who don't even know what Twisted Metal is, to see some of the crazy shit that Twisted Metal offers, with the weaponry on the cars and the crazy cars and the wild over-the-top action. But instead they just chose a dumb, stupid, not very good fist fight comedy routine scene from it. Just doesn't make sense. I hope the show's good. I'm not optimistic, and I just needed to rant about it. That's it. See ya.